Well, let's get the thoughts of an Everton fan. Matt Jones is from the Blue Room podcast and the Liverpool Echo. Hello, Matt.
Good evening.
It was inevitable, wasn't it, this?
Yeah, it feels like it's been on the cards for a while now, and typically with Everton managers in the past, when Farhad Moshiri has gone on another well-known radio station and said, I'm not going to sack this manager, they inevitably get sacked a few weeks down the line. So that almost felt like the kiss of death for Frank Lampard. But in all seriousness, you look at those results and you go through those numbers that you read out earlier, and there is no defending that, and the time clearly did come. I think a lot of fans would have said it should have come a long time before this. You go back to the two defeats at Bournemouth before the World Cup, where Everton lost 4-1 and 3-0 in the space of 4 days. You go back to the defeat against Wolves, who were bottom of the league on Boxing Day. You go back to the 4-1 defeat at home to Brighton. You go back to the defeat to Southampton, who were bottom of the league as well when they came to Goodison Park. It feels like there's been a lot of times where this could have happened, and the fact that maybe the fans haven't turned on Frank, the fact that Everton have sacked so many managers down the years, has certainly made the club and made the supporters want to stick with somebody and get behind somebody. But it's just got to a point now where it couldn't go any longer, and it feels as though most Everton fans wish Frank well. They've got nothing but positive words to say about him as a person and an ambassador for the football club, but as a manager, sadly, he's been found wanting.
Looking in from the outside, Matt, I'm not sure who the fans would want in the stocks first. Whether you say Lampard goes with everyone's best wishes, but they've turned on the players in recent days, the fans, and also they've turned obviously on the board. The board infamously didn't turn up for one game because of threats against them. It's a difficult environment for a new manager to come into, isn't it? Are the fans aware of how they might be perceived on the outside?
Well, I think the supporters, I can only go off my experiences as a season ticket holder. The supporters and the things that I've seen at Goodison Park have been largely peaceful. Of course, there's been the reports, people saw the videos of what happened with Yerry Mina and Anthony Gordon after the game, and nobody wants to see fans stopping players in the street. But as far as what I've seen, there's been nothing violent. The protest after the Southampton game was done peacefully, and people got the message across, I think, in the right way with banners. It was the same at West Ham at the weekend, and again, I've not seen anything to suggest otherwise. So I don't necessarily think it's a situation that's volatile and been created by the fans in that way. It feels as though this is just a group of supporters that are at the end of the tether, having seen 6 years, nearly 7 years of total mismanagement by Farhad Moshiri, and some would say going back a long time under Bill Kenwright.
Yeah, I get that. That wasn't an attempt by me to demean the fans. I was just trying to wonder what kind of an atmosphere a new manager will walk into, because whatever happens, the fans aren't going to fall back in love with the owners anytime soon, aren't they? So that's going to have to play into the mind of anyone who's offered the job.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really difficult situation, and you go through the list of managers that have been appointed by Farhad Moshiri or whoever's doing the decision making at Everton. At the weekend he said it wasn't his decision, so I suppose we don't really know anymore. But there's some managers there. You look at Carlo Ancelotti, Marco Silva, who's doing a fantastic job at Fulham, and while there's been some managers there that have come in, you can say haven't necessarily done a good job. There are some there who are good football managers and have proven themselves to be elsewhere, and that gets you thinking that, is this the structure? And I think that's where fans are now. People are looking at this, and I don't think that's why there was any real great determination and great drive from the fans to sort of force Frank Lampard out. And there's never really anyone turning on him, because I think the worry is now that even with someone like Frank Lampard gone, that Farhad Moshiri, Bill Kenwright, Denise Barrett-Baxendale, Graham Sharp, whoever, are still making the decisions, are still pulling the strings. And I think people now are at the point where they feel as though unless Farhad Moshiri sells the football club, or unless he brings in more competent people on the board of Everton to make better decisions and implement better structures and give managers and players a chance to thrive, then things are just going to stay the same. So Lampard, of course, had to go. Yeah.
No, that begs the question.
Sorry, go on.
That begs the question then, whoever comes next, if they are a Moshiri appointment or a Kenwright appointment, do the fans buy into the next manager?
Well, I think we've got to at this point, because you can't sit here with 15 points from 20 games and do anything else. From what I can gather, and we speak to fans a lot with the podcast and at the Echo, and supporters are willing to get behind the team. I think at the Southampton game you saw that. There was a huge bus welcome with flares. The streets outside Goodison Park were absolutely packed out, fully and unanimously in support of the team. And this was a team that got beat 4-1 by Brighton in the previous home game. So fans are willing to back the team. But in the same breath, I still think unless there are changes at ownership level and changes at board level, then fans will continue to protest, and will continue to protest peacefully like they did after that Southampton game. You know, there were banners in the away end at West Ham as well, and I believe there's more stuff planned for the game against Arsenal as well, which is obviously going to be broadcast. So I think those protests will continue, but I think in the same breath, the welcomes and the support for the team while they're playing football matches, and the support of whoever the new manager is going to be, will be there.
Just to end, Matt, I'm going to do the inevitable now and ask you who you fancy. I'm just looking at the betting for the next manager of Everton. Favourite is Sean Dyche, someone I'm familiar with. Marcelo Bielsa's second favourite. Moyes, he's still in a job at West Ham. Rooney. Nuno Espirito Santo, the former Wolves manager. Duncan Ferguson, former caretaker manager of yours. And Ange Postecoglou, Celtic manager. So out of those, is there anyone floating your boat?
Not really, no. Being brutally honest, I think the safe choice would obviously be Sean Dyche, wasn't it? In regards to what he's done at Burnley, he's obviously got a proven track record of making teams shored up and solid. I think in an ideal world, I look at someone like Bielsa and look at someone like Postecoglou and think that they would be good, you know, sort of long-term managers for Everton who've got clear, identifiable styles. They play good football. They've got a lot of passion and a lot of heart, and I think the fans will get behind. But I think the issue now with Everton is that they are so close to peril. They are in 19th. They have got Arsenal at home and Liverpool away coming up in the next two games. You know, will a manager be able to implement a very bespoke, particular, intricate style of football over the course of the next 2 weeks and still be able to get Everton out of this mess when the players have shown themselves not to be good enough as well? So it's a really difficult decision. Again, we don't really know who's making it based on what Farhad Moshiri said at the weekend, but I certainly don't envy them. But this, unfortunately, is just a product of the culture of Everton now. It's really difficult to put your finger on what they want to be in regards to style. Do they want to be a team that stays up and firefights every season like they have done in recent years, or do they want to get someone in who's got a philosophy and a style and back them to do it? It feels like, based on the situation, based on that stadium that's being built, based on the massive financial implications that would hit Everton if they went down, that they're going to have to go for someone like a firefighter. I think that feels like the safest option, albeit maybe not the most inspiring one.
Let's see what happens, Matt. Good to talk to you. Thanks very much. Matt Jones from the Blue Room podcast.